what is going on, everybody? ScottDogGaming here. Thank you very much for joining us. As you can see, we're back. We're playing some Tennis Manager 2021. A couple of things before we get started. My commentary is actually added post-edit or post-recording, just simply because the audio quality had messed up in the recording. I sounded a little bit like a robot, more so than normal. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to re-record this. So just bear in mind that I kind of know what's about to happen. But I'll do my best to be entertaining, which, you know, isn't one of my strong suits. But yeah, we're back. We're quickly approaching the end of the tennis season. And obviously you can see here we've been playing along with Jack Draper, and he's been doing pretty well for us. You know, he's a young 19-year-old. He's into the top 88 rankings and certainly feels like he's making progress for us. But let's get into this. Let's see how we go. We are slowly building our next level of the tennis academy, which means we're going to need more players. And you know, we're really struggling on getting the evaluations done on current players. That's one of the things I find quite interesting about this. This game is about finding the next tennis star, but early levels of your academy, you can only have one scout, and those scouts are pretty poor. So I'm just talking about here in the original recording. I was talking about how some of the comments I've had have said, could we please try and register for some of the big competitions? I go and have a little look here and then realize how close we are to the end of the season. We do a little bit better. So just to really highlight the issue, I've recorded 3 episodes of this, all with dodgy audio. So you're gonna have a post Scott talking to you for the next couple of episodes, 3 episodes of this. But you know, we'll see how we go. There's a lot that goes on in these next 2 to 3 episodes. There's a lot of change, so just bear that in mind. But we're gonna start going through. We've won our first game against Rinky Hajita, so that's nice. And always nice getting a 6-1, 6-2 win. And then we move into the next round. Our negotiations fail with Draper. I think we go and have a look to see if there's anything we can do to restart those negotiations. And the answer to that is no, he is not interested. Even though we've achieved all our objectives, I kind of hope that meant that he was going to give us another chance to renew the contract. Spoiler, he doesn't. We end up losing Mr. Draper, which is a bit of a shame because I was enjoying having him as our player. We go out in the next round against Emilio Gomez with a 6-2 first set win, and then we lost the next 2. So round of 16 we got to there, and then we were out. But yeah, we go on. We paid another 20k to our shareholders, which is a bit of a pain. And we're still focusing on the training. We're still trying to get Jack's focus and positioning and those things up as we started doing. We're still trying that. But I think that's one of the things I would say about this game is progress is slow. Progress is real slow. As you can see, that looks like we made a huge amount of progress. I think that means we went up 0.8 of a point, if not 1 point, which is a bit of a pain. But, you know, our focus was to get as many stats over 10 as we could. But the opportunity to continue working with Jack has disappeared. So we're still focusing on this training. Again, at this moment in time, we don't know that Jack is leaving. So we keep working on that position training. There's also no real way of improving positioning by more than 1 point, I think, from memory. You can see down the bottom there, Victoria is still marching on into finals, doing pretty well for us. We get into the promising player tournament at the end of the season, which is nice. And as you can see here, Victoria, I didn't notice on that screen that we were just in that there was a scroll bar at the bottom. I spend quite a lot of time in one of these episodes trying to figure out how I see what matches are coming up. So we go into this promising player finals. We're in the quarterfinal instantly because they've only invited the top 8. And then we play our game against Hugo Gaston and we lose. I don't really understand the point scoring in it. So if anyone knows what the hell that means, please let me know. I'm guessing it was the first to 4, but I don't understand how how, what 4-3-6 is. And then what becomes really interesting is when we click next, the scores are slightly different, I think. So, yeah, I don't quite understand. We did get 8K from it, which is nice. So it would have been nicer to get to the semi-finals or the final and share a better chunk of that 500K. But that didn't happen. So I think we're just playing out the rest of the season. I think from memory, that's probably the last tournament of the season for Draper. Again, at this moment in time, we don't know that his contract is expiring and we're not going to keep him. So we still try and focus on those things. But they don't really play out in the way that we were hoping. So Victoria is just marching on, doing her thing. She's been improving steadily, which I like. She's been improving as we go. Our focus again is still trying to get them over 10, but our decision, I think, in the end is to leave the other trainers to do their thing. They're the ones training her. They'll focus on it. We won't focus too much on it. I think one thing I would say is the progression of players is very, very slow. And it probably should be. If you're looking at doing a tennis career, you're probably doing it over 20, 25 years, right? So, progression would be slow, and it is quicker for the younger players, as you would expect. But I just find it a little bit interesting that the progress is as slow as it is. You can see there, the amount that Victoria is improving against the amount that Jack is improving is pretty slim. But let's keep going. And what I think I would say is, I don't think you gain any kind of benefits from matches. I think that's the thing that's missing. As a young player, surely you learn more in matches as you do in training, right? So you can see there we've leveled up our training skill, which is nice. We're up to hardened. So we're hopefully going to have a greater benefit on the players we're training. But I'm waving the mouse around a lot, just showing that we've improved some stats. But truth be told, it's all irrelevant because Jack's about to go. Sad times. But yeah, I do quite like that the younger players improve at a better rate. But I guess it kind of also highlights that how much you need to improve because their stats are so much worse than the better players. How much those stats need to improve to get anywhere near, top 32 in the world. I don't really understand the rankings in tennis. I will say that. I know there's like points that you gain from winning tournaments. You can see there it says 80 points, 20 points, 7 points for winning those tournaments. But I don't really understand how that all fits into the ranking at the end of the year. But we're very close to the end of the season. One of my big pushes was just to get to the end of a season and see what happens, and see if there's any real kind of improvement or changes. And I think from our point of view, this is where I'm trying to find how to look at what other tournaments are coming up without spotting the giant scroll bar at the bottom. You see that blue bar? Didn't see that. And I don't see it until a couple of episodes down the line. And then it all dawns on me. So we're into some questions. How was your first season? It was been rewarding. And I would go for not that option. Did you reach the objective you set for yourself? We've got some good results. We need to keep that energy going. I think that's fair. Smaller interview on that one. Got another couple of matches to go in Portugal this time round. 51K on the line. And let's see how we do. We lose. Jack is really wrapping up the end of the season in style. I will say that. Okay, and here is the end of the Season Academy objective review. As you can see, we have completed a few. We kept all of our players to a point. We had a balance over 0, and we didn't have any players as a secondary player. And you can see here that we didn't reach level 2, although that's in progress. And then this last one we couldn't achieve because I think the starting player has a higher percentage than that. So I think that's all a bit irrelevant. It'd be nice to have like a review of how your players have progressed. It'd be nice. One of the things I've said all along is it'd be really nice to see over the course of a season the amount of progress you've had on each stat. To see that Focus started as a 9, it's now a 10, and maybe over multiple seasons, so you could see where you started to where you've got to. It doesn't really do that, and it'd be really nice. The end of season accounts don't look great, but the sponsorship we got really benefits us there. You can see here Draper's gone up 59 places. As I say, we had a good season with Draper, I think. Unfortunately, Vicky had a slightly worse season than that, dropping places, but there we go. There's the end of season wrap up. And it looks like we then move into the new season. And what you can see here is we've got some contract review stuff coming in and how much money we make from her contracts, which is great. I don't know why we didn't have any contracts for some of the other players, but as we look through here, we can see that some of our academy staff have come to an end. All of their assignments have been cancelled. Draper has decided that he doesn't want to stick around, and we can't offer him a new contract. He's not interested. So at this moment in time, we are main playerless. We need to go and find someone, which was a bit disappointing. I think from memory, I put a pause in the video here and go and have a look and see who we can keep. So Victoria we got for another year, so that's good news. But we need to get her to ranking 1, which is where she was when she came to us. But you can see here, we still got our trainers, our coaches, our scouts, our physios. We have no scouts, agents, or analysis. But we're going to go and have a little look for players and staff and hire some of those and get those in. So you can see we've only managed to evaluate 3 players all season, which is insane, right? How are you meant to really benefit from this by scouting for players? So what we decide to do is we decide to filter it on players that are interested eventually and level of fame, and add that to the list. And then we go and have a look at some of these players and whether we want to try and sign them or not. This player looks great in terms of she's ranked 32. We try and sign her and we can't. She's not interested. So we actually go back and have a little look at making sure we're only looking at available players. And then we go for it again. And you can see here that at the top of the list is Anastasia Potapova. And I think at this point I decide I'm going to go away, have a look at some of these players, do some filtering, see if we can find anything. But we can see that Anastasia is fame level 10. She's experienced. She's 20 years old and she's ranked 115th in the world, which doesn't sound like a bad shout for us. It's the kind of player we want to bring in who's on the peripheral of being in the top 100, if not slightly higher than that, and has some fame, so we can hopefully bring in some cash for sponsorship deals. So you can see here we skip ahead, and you can see that they've set some objectives for the new season. They've also given us some money, and then finally you can also see that Potapova has accepted our contract. So she's joined us. You can see her stats here. She's an early bloomer, so I'm guessing we missed that boat, but she has got some potential. And more importantly, she's got some pretty good stats. We decide to focus on her serve accuracy and focus because they're not quite as high as we'd like. Again, I feel like 10 is a starting point really for the players we want. So we focus on that in training. But this is our new superstar, Anastasia Potapova. And this is who we are going to coach, certainly for the next couple of episodes. But from our point of view, we're quite happy to see how you guys want to play it. If we're waiting for the next level of our academy to come in. When we get that, we'll be able to go and get another player. So we will end up with 3 people. You guys can tell me who you want us to follow around, and if you wanted to switch it up every once in a while, I'm more than happy to do that. I'll keep an eye on the comments, and we'll change it up when you guys deem necessary. So we're making sure we focus on the training that we said for these guys, and I think from our point of view on Victoria, it's very difficult to know where to focus, because I don't know if, as a youngster, if your mental stats just go up because you're young and you're getting older, or not. So we focus on similar things to what we were doing before, on some of the focus and positioning and anticipation skills. And then I think that's it for this. We remove some more training to not make it too heavy. And then we do an interview for Wii Sport. Just recruited Anastasia. Should we expect to see him reaching the top of the rankings? I think I go with she's a promising player. No, yeah, I do eventually go with she's a promising player. Makes sense. You won't want to bring in any player under your wing. What possessor? Well, interesting with this one, she was any player. We couldn't scout her, so we just went on how famous she was. That was our whole decision. Are you hoping for a long-term collaboration? I think we said we set no barriers, and we'll see how we go. And Anastasia is one of the biggest up-and-comers. We'll be looking to after her personally. Yes, we will. And there we go. We've got our new objectives. We're ready to go. There's nothing particularly major that's changed here. We've still got an objective to reach level 2 of the tennis skill, which we know is happening anyway. I think we also went and improved our scouting options here, because we're only allowed 1 scout at the moment. So I was hoping that we could improve this. You can see there it's going to take 4 months to do. We've got 2 months left on the sports center. I'm hoping that we can bring in some new players, some new scouts, and so on and so forth, and really get them up and running. We do really need to recruit another physio, but we also need to assign us and our coaches to these guys. So we go in and we do that. And again, we don't have a physio, so we go and recruit one of those if we haven't done it already. I think we just check here to see if anyone's better than us, but okay, and then we go and recruit. And I think our recruiting of a physio is really straightforward. We tick the physio box. We find someone who's not the best, but somewhere near the top, and offer them a contract, and that's pretty much it. I think that's our whole game plan when it comes to these, because we've got a little money. You see how different it is now. We've got some money in the bank. We're like, no, we'll just pay whatever we need for anyone. We don't care. Okay. So I think we next up we play our first tournament. We go for a few weeks worth of training, and then we play our first tournament. After we've recruited, we've got our agent and scout and analyst. I can't give them tasks, as you can see over there. Their assignments are 0. I don't know how to change that. We've got our scout supposedly scouting, but I don't know how to give them any improvement to their skill sets, which is a bit of a pain. Okay. And here we are just saying that we're really hoping that by upgrading the youth and scouting center, we get more scouts so we can scout players quicker and hopefully find a young superstar. That's the plan. But whether that ever happens. I also don't know if other academies are signing players. That would be interesting to know. So we spoke about finding competitions that we can register. Now we're into a new year. We go through and you can see that we register for some big competitions. The Australian Open is one of those. We go for qualifying and then hopefully into the Grand Slam. What else do we do? I think we're looking at this moment in time just for I want to call them majors. I'm not sure if that's the right name for them. But I think we go back and put ourselves into like the Dubai Open and Indian Wells, mainly because I've heard of it. But I think from our point of view, the next Open isn't available until the next week. I think we do register for Miami Open. And then I think there's the French Open coming up at some point. One of the things that I've noticed is that if you ask your players or your assistants to enter them in competitions, I think it puts you in sort of direct competition for the places for the ones that you're trying to register them. And that's what we found as the season went on. We couldn't play in some of the ones that I've tried to register for because we were registered for the other ones. So I think we decide to be a little bit more careful around what we're entering and what we're not entering. But there you go. We can see that we've entered the Dubai Open, and then we start going through the training. We're going to focus on focus and on serve accuracy for Anastasia. We're going to keep seeing what happens over here. But here's the let staff handle the registrations, and I think that's what then stops us from entering some of these competitions. So what I've said later on is next season we'll focus on that slightly less, and we'll really try and focus on entering big competitions. But again, without understanding the rankings, I feel like you need to enter some rubbish competitions to get points, because if you enter every big competition and go out in the first round, you're never going to get any points for it. So I think that's one thing that we also focus on. I think what we do here is we just focus on this training for the next few weeks, and then we skip ahead to the first game. Okay, so we're just finishing up the last week of training, and we go into our first tournament of the new season for Anastasia. She's in top form. She's dropped 25 places over the off season, which is a little bit disappointing, down to 139th, but hopefully we can get that back up fairly soon. As you can see, there's been no progress, so we don't see how she's done in previous seasons, which I find a little bit weird. You feel like you'd see some progress. But again, a good week for Victoria, still improving. She's been accepted into the Junior Championship. We've been accepted into the Australian Open qualifying with Anastasia, so we're ready to go. And I think we get into the first tournament, and I think from memory we kind of sim a lot of it. And I think that's one thing we're going to do a lot of this season is sim a fair amount. Unless they're big games, we're going to sim. So I apologise if you're looking to see some of the simulations. We will sim some of the bigger games, but again, we'll probably just sim to the key points, which I found out you could do a bit later on. But here you go. This is us versus Wai Zhang, and we simulate this one, and we walk it with a 6-3, 6-3 win. Next up, we go into the next round against Ipek Soylu, who from Turkey, I think she is. This one I found quite interesting. She needs to improve her laser vision, and then it goes on to say the movement analysis, which is an interesting one. Okay, so we're next up against 290th rank versus 114th, and again they tell us that we need to focus on the high serve, so we do that, and then we straight into the simulation, and we win 6-1, 6-3. It's been a good start for Anastasia. Okay, we've got no new messages. Into the next round, we're up against Magdalena Fresh, 140th, plays 114th. Here we go. The 6-1, 6-0. I think what we decided is that for a lot of these, we're not going to adjust the focus. I'm really keen just to see how us playing our game affects the simulation, if that makes sense. We never change it to deal with anyone else's tactics. We just play the way we want to play. Camelia Gorgi, I'm guessing, we're up against again. We're just straight into this one. 7-6, 6-4. So we eked through in that one, and we're into the final against Catherine Bellis, and I think we decide to leave this one on a cliffhanger. So thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter at ScottDogGaming. Next episode we're going to pick up this episode or this match against Catherine, and I think we actually watched some of the match. I'm going to apologize again. I'm sorry that this is post-editing commentary. Is much more interesting whilst I'm going through, I think, and my reactions are there. But a couple of episodes, and then we're back to standard recording as long as the audio doesn't mess up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching ScottDogGaming. Don't forget to follow on Twitch and Twitter, and head over to YouTube for daily content. See you again soon.